Okay, cool. So everybody will be muted and you can unmute yourself. Welcome, Ruthie. Glad you're here. Make sure you have a cushion to sit on. And our only planned prop usage specifically today is going to be using the wall. So you'll want to be able to get close to that at some point as well. If you have blocks or anything that you like to use to support yourself, by all means. I was hanging out and reading some emails yesterday morning, and my friend was talking about how there's like all of these ideas and statements about how we should or should not be using this time. Like, I know somebody I know is like, oh, you should be reading and digging deep into yourself and spending all of this time, practicing quiet and silence. And other people are rampaging and all of these super social activities, and then you've got people like me, and my life has not changed. I'm still working my full-time job. All of my yoga classes are happening online, and I don't have time to read and sit and do nothing. And my friend that was emailing with me was saying that when we have all these should and should nots and all of these statements that we can make so easily about what the right and wrong way to do anything is, and there is just the same as there's not a right and a wrong way to live and a right and a wrong way to plan your career paths and your interests and your education. There's not a right and a wrong way to be in quarantine. There's not a right or a wrong way to grieve. There's not a right or a wrong way to practice yoga, to be a human. There's that statement, many paths, one yoga. There are many different resources and opportunities that we have available to us, and different ones are going to resonate with different people. But as long as we are true to our most authentic selves and our most authentic needs, that's where we should be focusing. We should be using what works for us. So if we're practicing svadhyaya, just self-study, if we're being honest and connected with what our own needs and our own passions, our own best use of our energies are, then that's what we should be doing. And that's going to be different for all of us. We're all going to have different elements and different paths. And some of us might be very internal. Some of us might be having nonstop scheduled Zoom parties or whatever it is that you're doing. And as long as that is the most honest and clear use of your time and your energy and your space, then that's where we're supposed to be. Just like in our practice, we make modifications in our physical practice. Meditation is different every time that we approach that mindfulness practice. It's just that it's not black and white. It's not necessarily all that clear and specific and rigid. Life is dynamic. Even when life is happening only inside of your apartment, it's still dynamic. And then take your fingertips up behind your ears. We'll just give ourselves a nice little massage. And then finding the bony spots behind the ears, lifting up on the head. So we're lifting up from right behind the ears where the skull and the spine come together, finding some length in the spine. And then leaving this length in the spine as you plant your hands down in your lap and rub. So you build up some heat. And then after you feel like you've built up some heat, you've got a little bit of friction going, kind of let the palms be steady, planting downwards. So we have this connection, this grounded space that's going on. We'll take a few deep breaths, tuning inwards. So you can close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. Just feeling the connection of your palms against your legs, your seat, whatever you're sitting on, the ground, the cushion, a chair. Taking a moment to set an intention for your practice, something that you would like to cultivate or to focus on during our time together here. And taking a deep breath in through your nose, big exhale through the mouth. Again, like that. for 3 ohms. Coming down to laying on your back. Let the knees bend, the soles of the feet rest on the floor, and take your arms and reach them out from your sides. Take your arms and bring them up a little bit higher above your head. Feel free to have bent elbows if that helps you to feel a little bit more relaxed in your shoulders. And then start to press the backs of your hands into the floor, the elbows down towards the floor, the shoulders down towards the floor, and you'll maybe notice a slight lift of your heart inside of your ribs. There's ever so slightly a little back bend, a little heart opening that's taking place. Keep pressing the backs of the hands, the backs of the elbows, the shoulders, all down into the mat, into the floor, feeling your heart float up gently away from the floor. One more breath in. One more breath out. Then start to bring the arms down a little bit lower. They can be reaching out from your sides or a little bit lower than the shoulders. Keep pressing the backs of the hands down into the mat and the shoulders down into the mat so there is an active opening of the chest. And then let both of your knees roll over towards the right side. Starting off a little bit more open in this twist. You can look upwards or you can look over your left shoulder. But try to keep pressing down through the hands. And then your left leg, your top leg, you're going to start sliding that up closer towards your belly. And the more you cross that leg over, the harder it's going to be to reach your left shoulder down towards the ground. It's okay if it lifts up a little bit, but do push down into the back of your hand. Just stay here for one more breath. And slide that left leg back. Bring the feet down, the knees up, come back to the middle, make any adjustments that help you to feel more steady. And then once you find that neutral, even space, we start again on the other side, dropping the knees over towards the left side, and then pushing down into the back of the right hand to open up the heart, to open up that shoulder. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Taking now your right leg and then starting to slide it up a little bit closer to the chest. You can see how the hips are lifting and twisting more. My right shoulder starts to come away from the mat. I put just a little bit more effort into pushing down into that right hand. It's okay if the shoulder's a little bit lifted. We are bringing our awareness first into this chest opening. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Sliding that right leg back, bringing the soles of the feet onto the mat, and then taking the hands up, making circles with your wrists and your fingers, and circling the other way. And then take your fingers and draw them back, pressing your palms up to the ceiling, and again, pressing the shoulders down towards the mat. So you've got some strength going with the arms. You can have a slight bend into your elbows to check if your elbows are pointing at your thighs or if they're fanning outwards. You want to try to keep them reaching down towards those thighs. Push the hands up to the ceiling, breathe in. Push your shoulders, your heart down towards the mat as you breathe out. One more like that. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And relax your hands. Maybe shake your fingertips out. Bringing your knees into your chest. Making some circles with your knees around in space so that you can massage your back into the floor. And then moving those circles in the other direction. And then choose a side to roll over to, and then come all the way down onto your belly, making a pillow for your head with your hands. Rock your hips gently side to side. Face this way. And then take your right arm, you're going to reach it out away from you, right out from your shoulder with the palm facing down, much like where we just came from. And then taking your left hand underneath your shoulder, lay the right side of your face on the floor and roll that left leg back so you get a little stretch to the front of your right shoulder. Take a breath in, take a breath out. And roll over onto your belly and switch sides, taking your left arm out, palm facing down, right hand under your shoulder. Lay on the left side of your face and roll that right leg back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Rolling over onto your belly. Bring both hands in underneath your shoulders and press back towards child's pose. So when you get back there, widening your knees a bit, finding maybe some space with the hips back towards the heels or the hips up, floating a little bit higher. If you can, rest your forehead to the mat. Maybe finding a little bit more spine lengthening, reaching your hips back away from your rib cage. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And start to walk the hands in, coming up onto your hands and knees, and in table pose, taking some circles around with your hips so that you're moving them around in space, shifting front and side and back and side. And then starting to move in the other direction. You're really making some big movements, some fairly big shifts to get the hips moving, getting them loosened up. And we'll start to settle more in the center and work some cat and cow. If your wrists are feeling tender, you can always come up onto your fingertips. As you breathe in, drop your belly, look up, lift your tail. As you breathe out, round through the spine, tuck the nose back. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more round. Lifting your gaze, your tail, tucking your tail around the spine. Find a more neutral spine. Bring the hands down. And then take your, I'm going to mirror you from now on. I didn't do that a moment ago. Take your right leg out to the right side. And then start to roll the thigh bone around in the hip by taking your toes and lifting them up. It could be just a little bit. It could be all the way so they point towards the ceiling. And then taking the toes back down. And then lifting the toes up and taking them down. And the knee could be bent. Might be very different in the hip that way. After you've moved those toes around a few times each side, start to bring both knees back in. If your time coming to the other side, you might give the legs some assistance in coming out there. And again, being on fingertips, if your wrists are not okay with this, just take some more rolls of the toes up and down. Almost there. Letting the thigh bone move around in the hip. And then after you've done a few rounds like that, go ahead and take both legs back in. You take one hand, shoot out. Spread your fingertips down on the mat. Take the other hand, shoot out. Spread your fingertips down on the mat. And then finding downward facing dog. Curl your toes, lift your hips back. You can lengthen your tailbone up. Finding all the length in the spine that we worked on last week. Maybe walking through your heels a bit. Trying to push down stronger into your hands to maybe feel the tailbone lift up higher. And start to bring yourself into a fold. Bringing your hands back towards your legs, your feet up towards your hands. Bend your knees as much as you need. Let your head hang down. Quickly shake it. Gently yes and no. And bend your knees a little bit more. Start to roll all the way up and come to standing. Taking a moment to settle when you get there. Not sure if you could hear my enthusiastic neighbors. And then finding your steady stance with your feet directly underneath your hip bones. I'm going to start with the feet about hip width distance apart and take a side bend to each side. Lift your arms up. Catch your left wrist, side bend over towards the right. And push down more into your left foot as you do that, so you have a little bump of the hips out, a little bit more energy into the side bend. Finish your exhale. Come up to the center. And then continue that side bend up and over towards the left side. This time hold your right wrist and push down into the right foot. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Come up to the center. And relax the arms down. Make some circles around with your wrists. Circle them around the other way. And then take your left foot and cross it back behind your right foot. And we're going to take that side bend. This time you might bend your elbow behind your head, or bend your hand behind your head, catch your elbow. You can also extend the arm if that feels better to you. We're going to take this elbow and reach it up and over, do a little bit different stretch in the shoulder, but still pushing down into the left foot, which is your back foot, so that we can activate and lengthen this side body. Breathing in, breathing out. Go ahead and come up. Keep your legs crossed. Bring your hands down to your hips. Your back foot's going to go further away from you. Just kind of finding a little bit of space. My front leg is bent. So from the side, you look kind of like this. It's kind of like what I say don't do in Warrior One. I'm just going to push the hips over a little bit. So a little extra outer glute lengthening. And then come on back. Bring that the left foot up next to the right foot. And we'll take the right foot and cross it just behind the left. So we start off really close with the legs. And then taking the right arm up, and you can hold onto your elbow or you could hold onto your wrist depending on what you really like. And just a slightly different shoulder stretch. Push into your back foot, your right foot. And I always notice when I push into that back foot, it really also helps to lift the front of my hips, keep my hips in line. I don't have any wonky back bends going on. Breathing in, breathing out. Keeping the feet crossed, come back up, bring your hands to your hips. You just feel a little bit more steady there. Take the back foot, bring it more back. My front leg is bent just a bit, just because that's kind of what happens and helps me to remain stable. And then I'm going to push my hips over towards the right side. There's just a little bit extra room to open up on the outside of this hip. Breathing in, breathing out. And come on up. I'm going to bring both feet up, put them back where they belong. And we're going to cross the leg. This time we're going to take the left leg and cross it over and bend into your knees. So this is going to be our shape. If you want to come close to a wall, you can find some shoulder stretching by pushing your hands into the wall. You can see my hips are going back and away from it. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, you could bring your elbows and your palms together. If you've got your hands on the wall, you might be able to lift the top foot up off the ground if that's feeling good to you. And you could, of course, wrap elbows around its opposite arm as leg. Just finish one more exhale. And then unwind your legs, unwind your arms. Take those hands all the way up. Give yourself a big stretch to the front of the body that we just compressed. And then bring the hands down. So lots of options for this eagle pose depending on where you're going with it. We do want to compress the front of the body, so we'll do that either freestanding, crossing now the right leg on top, maybe the left arm goes on top, maybe we keep the elbows together, maybe instead we face towards this wall, and it's compressing by pushing the hips back, pushing the hands forward. If you're feeling really steady, you can lift that top foot, but it's not necessary, it's not worth falling or causing the trauma to the brain or trauma to the body by falling. And I mean brain just like our ego, yeah? Not actual brain. Finish your exhale. And then come all the way up, uncross your legs, set your feet back where they go, wiggle things out a little bit. And then we're gonna come into warrior one legs. So take your right foot forward and take your left foot back. Try to bring your hips to face forward. You know, I don't have my legs crossed over each other. Got a little bit of space. And then straighten your front leg, bring your hands to your hips. Draw the elbows back. Draw the right hip back slightly and start to lean the heart forward. And you can keep your hands at your hips if this is enough shoulder stretching for you. We've already done a lot of work here. If you want more, you can take the hands back and hold hands behind your hips. So it's up to you how intense you'd like that to be. But keep drawing the right hip back and then starting to lean your heart forward. As you reach your heart forward, not down, but forward, feel some good stretch into the right hamstring. Try to stand on both feet, lengthening the backs of the ears out of the shoulders. Keep thinking of the heart moving forward, still breathing. One more full rounded breath. And draw the belly back up towards your spine. Come to stand up. We're going to come to stand on the right foot. And then you're going to take your left leg behind you. It's up to you if you'd like to have the toes curled under so that you've got that long leg. Or if you'd like a little different stretch of the foot, you can be on the top of the foot. Either way is fine. Today we're going to just open up the front of the hips and get a long leg stretch. So you can decide which way is best for you. Go ahead and reach the arms up. Let the front of the hips lift up to take your hips forward. Let the heart float up into the front of your rib cage. And then extend out through the fingertips. Take another big breath in. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Bring both feet down. Wiggle things out a little bit. And then finding the same warrior one leg shape on the other side. So the left foot goes forward, the right foot goes back. Let's see, I've got the front leg, the knee faces forward, the back foot is out slightly, back leg is straight, front leg is bent. So we'll find that. And then straighten the legs and work on bringing the hips a little bit more in line. Having the hands on the hips will often help to make that a little bit more clear for the body. And you can keep the hands at the hips, drawing the elbows back. You can take the hands back and hold on to them. And think of the heart going forward, 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 as the hips, especially the left hip, will go back. Lengthening ears off of shoulders. Standing on both feet. Find something steady to look at. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Draw the belly in, lift yourself up, release your hands. We're going to come to stand up on the front foot, and it's up to you if you would like to have the toes curled under or have the toes extended back behind you, stretching more of the front of the foot. You're going to take the arms up. You're going to stand strong on your left foot, lift the front of the hips, let the heart float up to the front of the rib cage, let the fingertips extend longer up and back. Keep lifting the front of your hips. Big inhale as you stretch. And then exhale, releasing, standing on both of your feet, wiggling things out a little bit. From here, we'll take the legs out pretty wide. We want the toes to face forward and then the feet to be about underneath the hands. Now take the palms to face up. And you're going to reach out through your fingertips. And your hands aren't actually going to move down, but pretend you've got a friend's hand underneath you and you want to press the backs of your hands onto your friend's hands to give a little bit more strength across the chest. Try to keep your pinky toes connected to the mat. We're going to change the hands slightly from having the hands facing up. We're going to turn the hands to face forward. And then you've got, pretend your hands, your friend's hand is in front of you, so palm against palm. Without moving your hands, press the palms forward. Doing a little bit different arm muscle movement. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. One more rotation of the hands, pressing them down. So now you have, maybe there's a table there, or your friend's got their palm underneath yours, and without moving the hands, press down. You may notice some length through your spine from this. You may have seen some length in my spine from that movement, that change in my energy. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Relax that hands down. Whew. Pull the shoulders around a bit. Moving forward. Shake the middle, just because it's fun. And then we're going to come into a fold. We've been here for a long time. Try to keep lengthening the outsides of the thighs. So we're lengthening the outsides of the calves too, all the way down to the pinky toes. Take your hands to your hips. Lean your heart forward until you come all the way down into your fold. So you might stop with the hands on shins. You might take something to put underneath your hands. You can use the coffee table or a chair or a dog if they're feeling very lazy at this point. You can give them a little massage. Cats if they're into that. Relax your head. Maybe bending into the knees a little bit more if that helps you to release the tops of the hamstrings, the very tops of the back of the thighs. Try to relax your head down. Finish your exhale. Bend the knees a bit more, draw the belly in, bring your hands back to your hips. Come all the way up to standing. And then we're going to turn the toes out towards the right. So turn the right toes all the way over. And then your left toes, turn those up a little bit too. Bring your hands to your hips and start with the hip shift to bring you down towards triangle. Keep pushing down into the right big toe. Let the left hip roll slightly forward. We'll take the right hand down, and then from the shoulder, opening up through the top arm. So some of the arm work that we were doing before, you can of course leave your hand at your hip, but some of that arm work before where your palm was facing forward and you had that imaginary friend pressing their palm into yours, press into that palm, and without moving the hand, the shoulder starts to open up. You might feel some heat there. Decide how much heat is right for you. Lengthen the spine, reaching the backs of the ears out of the shoulders. Stay here, breathe in. Stay here, breathe out. Draw the belly in, come all the way up. And then start to switch the feet. So we'll be going all the way over towards the left side. So the toes will go all the way over and that what's now that front leg, that left leg, the right toes come up slightly. We have this shift in the hips. So the right hip is up higher and then the right hip rolls forward just slightly. So now I can lengthen my spine out over my long, strong leg. And I can leave the hand here, maybe rolling the shoulder back on its own or lifting the arm up and then pressing into the palm to roll back and open the shoulder, feeling a strong opening in my chest. Try to stand on both feet. Try to lengthen your left thigh bone back to the right hip, back to the right foot. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Draw the belly in. Lift yourself all the way up. And then turn all 10 toes to face forward. We're going to come into a fold. We'll do things a little bit differently this time. We're going to have a slow twist and opening side to side. Bring the hands to the hips. Push into the pinky toe edges of the feet. Breathe in. And then fold forward, bringing the hands down to your shins or the floor or something that's a little bit taller than the floor for you. The slower your exhales go and the movement on your exhales, the more intense this core work will become. So you can come down faster, but try not to flop. We're going to inhale and open the right arm out into a twist. Here's where the strength and the difficulty comes. Slow down that exhale and that lower. Inhale, open it up. Try to open from the shoulder. And then exhale, slow, lower that left side down. Inhale, reach the right arm open. Exhale, slow, lower. Inhale, the left arm opens. Exhale, slow, lower. Try for at least one more round on each side. And then it's up to you whether you would like to stay in a fold for the next 2 rounds or go 2 more times each side. So you could just take both hands down, soften into a fold, maybe bend your knees more. Maybe you need to come up before I give the suggestion and you just listen to yourself on that. If you're still moving, you're on the last round. It's the last time taking the left arm open. Take both hands down, little bend into the knees, draw the belly in, hands to the hips. Body slowly comes up. And then we're also going to take triangle pose one more time each side. So turn the toes all the way out towards the right side. Make sure to turn the left toes back in a little bit. Go ahead and give the hip shift. The top hip shifts over. Slide the hand down. Open your top arm up. And we want to try to still open the shoulder up to the top fingertips. You're going to decide how intense you want this to be. So it can be just the arm moving, taking the left hand down, and then opening the left hand up. That's level 1. Level 2 would be to take my gaze down as I drop the arm. So my rib cage doesn't really move, but there's a little shift if I turn my gaze. Another option is to try to take your left hand all the way down to where your right hand is, and then open it up further. And then the more you draw the belly in and curl inwards, and the more you lengthen and open yourself up, the harder it is, the harder the balance is. If your back muscles are working harder than your ab muscles, then you'll want to tone that down a bit. Just do this one more time. Inhale. Strong feet, lift all the way up. And then switch sides, turning over towards that front side. So have that shift in the hips. We've got the left toes forward, right toes in, top hip over, bringing the left hand down, opening the right arm up. So a couple more times on this side. You might just take the hand down and then open the hand up, breathe in. Exhale, maybe the hand goes down, maybe you just look down. And then feel the open space as you breathe in. Maybe you do curl yourself down where your hands come towards each other. And then try to find that same open space when you open it back up. You could try to reach beyond that hand. Maybe you don't. Maybe you go back to where we just were. Do one more time. Slow exhale. Nice long inhale. And then pushing into your feet. coming all the way up. Bring your toes to face in, and then the heels in, and the toes in, and the heels, and the toes, and the heels, the toes, and the heels. Until you end up back here, whether or not that happened with the fancy dance moves we just did. Lift up all 10 of your toes, plant them back down. Lift the front of your hips, lift up all 10 of the toes, plant them back down. See if you can lift your rib cage up higher from your hips. Still lift the front of the hips, lift all of the toes, plant them back down. Do it one more time. Notice if you feel a little bit more steady with all of this lifting, all of this taking up space. Lower your toes down. Relax the body for a moment. Go ahead and shake out. So we're going to come into a standing balance, and then we'll come down and we'll end with some hip openers. We've been doing some hip openers, some long straight leg things, and you know, I have this this wall right in front of me. It's very handy if you need to adjust a little bit, if you just want to check out what we're doing here before you step away from the screen or come to a place where it's harder to see. So we're going to come into half moon, and I'm just going to use the side where I can face you. So we're going to come in where I'm just going to find a little lift of my leg and opening my arm, and check out some stuff like that I can see my toes. So I'm pretty close to the wall still here. In order to get a little bit more challenging with the balance, I'm going to have to move back. So I went back about a footprint, and I might bend into the knee and come out towards my chair. That actually was probably a lot more than I intended to, because now my arm is straight towards the wall and my leg is lifted. You don't have to lift the leg up very high. Just make sure the leg doesn't come behind you. So you want to make sure you can see those toes. This top arm, you're going to press into your hand to open that shoulder. And you don't have to take long visits. If you haven't already, go ahead and take one side and start close to the wall. You might just bring your hand to it, lift that leg, and practice lifting your shoulder. My standing foot faces the wall. My lifted leg, my heart and my toes and my palm all face the same direction. Yeah. Oh, I can see you in there. That's cool. Good. Okay. And then when you feel like you've kind of got that, if you want to try stepping a little bit further away from the wall, the fullest of this is going to have a straight arm. We still need to open the top shoulder, and then think of taking up space. Push into all of your limbs. You might not be able to straighten the arm that's holding onto the wall. That's okay. And then come all the way up. Shake things out. When you're ready to try the other side, same kind of idea. You're going to come kind of close to the wall. And maybe lift the foot up this shoulder. You're going to press into your palm to open it up. So what I don't want to find happening is that my foot's going behind me, because then that's going to cause some tension in my spine. I get a little back bend. I'm not as steady in my balance. I want to make sure my toes are slightly in front of me there. And open. If I don't just let the hand come behind me, I push with the hand to roll the shoulder back. If you haven't already tried, just a little bit further away from the wall. And that might be you start here, and then a little bit further from the wall was just that. And it's just those little changes to always kind of keep us on our feet. It's probably about time to come out of it, especially if you've been trying on multiple settings of your feet away from the wall. And then when you're all settled, go ahead and come back towards your mat, towards your normal space. Interesting? Cool? Yeah. Sweet. Okay. So when you're ready, we're really going to try to loosen up the lower back here. We're going to come into a wide, not super deep squat. So just bring your feet out, maybe about as wide as your mat, or you can think of them being just a little bit wider than your hips. We're just going to sit the hips back, place the elbows on our thighs, leave the palms facing up. Just let your hands open, your heart open. Let your hips go back. Kind of push into all four corners of your feet. Taking a breath in, and a breath out. draw your belly in, lift up, stand up, stretch the front of the body. So we're gonna feel the thighs lifting up, the front of the hips lifting up, the heart lifting up, the fingertips stretching upwards. So everything on the front of you is stretching out nice and long. Take a deep breath in. And then go ahead and bring the elbows back down towards your thighs. Let the palms face up. Push the hips back, push down on the elbows, push the heart up. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Inhale, stand all the way back up. Try to lift the front of the body, the front of the hips, the front of the heart, the fingertips. Breathing in. Exhale, relaxing that arm down. Bring your feet a little closer together. Last standing thing here, we're going to take some arm circles. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, draw them down and back. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, draw the elbows down and back. 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Last time. Go ahead and bring your seat down onto the ground. Take your time getting down there. Bring the soles of your feet together, or have your legs extended out in front of you. Maybe your knees just open a little bit. Maybe your feet are closer. Oh, if you have a cushion, and sit up on that. Maybe have a little bit more space to lift up and open the knees and release the hips. So hold onto your legs somewhere that's comfortable to you. So that might be on your feet. It might be up at your thighs, your knees. And lift up through the heart. Feel the backs of the ears lifting up. Go for a long spine. If you've got a lot of space in your hips and you want to find more space, push the soles of your feet together, which might open your knees more. If that's causing tension to your knee joints, or that's unpleasant, or that doesn't seem to be working very much for you, don't worry about the pressure of the feet together. Lift up from the back body, finding a long spine. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Taking another inhale. Relaxing as you exhale. Go ahead and release the legs. I'm going to lean a little bit over towards the right leg, and then take the left leg and just fold it in the other direction. So both knees are kind of turned over towards the right side. We're going to let ourselves go towards the right leg. If you go more towards the thigh, you're not going to get as much rotation and as deep of work. So even if you barely go towards the foot, it's a little bit better to try to go a little bit more towards the foot to get some of that lower back, outer hip release. Since if we go towards the thigh, it's just a big IT band stretch and we don't really get into the pelvic hip socket area. So try to go a little bit more towards the foot. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then breathing in. And breathing out. Start to walk the hands back in. We are going to go towards the thigh now, but this time trying to stay lifted in the spine. I'm going to find a twist over that front leg, or that right leg. So take your left hand over towards that knee. Go ahead and lift into a twist. If you want to release the front of this left thigh more, it's okay to roll up a little bit through that hip. It'll just give us a little bit more space there. If that doesn't feel good to you, lifting the hip up, you can let it relax. Maybe you don't get as far into the twist. That's okay. Lift up through the spine, breathe in, exhale, soften the belly, maybe look back behind you and twist a little bit more. Big exhale. Back to the center. Then we're going to switch the legs. Taking your left knee and opening that to the left. And then adjusting the right leg. So it'll turn inward slightly. And then we want to try to come towards the foot. I'm going to try to come towards the thigh, and don't worry about getting in really close to it or being really close to any part of your leg. Just go for foot and go for a long spine. Taking a few deep inhales and exhales. One more deep breath in. Deep breath out. Walking the hands back in. And then starting to turn over into a twist that goes over the left thigh. My left hand is in pretty close to my body so that I lift up in my twist. I can lift the right hip up and let it come forward if that feels good. If that's too much rotation somewhere, then not worrying about it. You can kind of gently test both versions and decide what makes the most sense for your body this morning, this afternoon. Taking a breath in. Deep breath out. Long on the inhale. Soft belly on the exhale. Release the twist. Unwind that back leg. So you once again bring both feet to come forward. You can find this open shape. Maybe you cross ankles this time to come forward. Maybe you open your legs to come forward. But start to bring yourself into a fold. So you've got lots of options. This one's going to be a little bit more intense in the hips. This might be a little bit more free with the legs open. So lots of modifications. We want to just have a fold here that releases our lower back. And your fold might be here, supported with the hands kind of beside or behind you. Just 2 more breaths. Starting to lift yourself back up. I'm going to start to close the legs in. Bringing the soles of the feet down. Bringing the hands back behind you. Let the fingertips face forward. Push into your hands. Lift the heart. Feel that stretch in the fronts of your arms. You can look up in front of you, taking a big breath in. And then exhale, soften. Extend one leg. You could have just a little bump of the hips up off of the mat and only work on the heart. You can go hips all the way up, just one breath in, push down into that foot. Exhale, lower it down. Switch sides. So extending one leg. This foot now, the foot that's planted is going to press downwards. Both hands press down. You can lift the hips, or lift the heart, barely lift the hips, or lift the hips all the way up. Big breath in. And then big breath out. And then take your hands out, make some circles with your fingers, going around in the other direction. And then taking your hands out, curling the fingertips in towards your wrists, spreading them out, curling the fingertips in towards your wrist, spreading them out one more time. And relaxing, bring it all the way down onto your back. When you get there, bring your knees into your chest. Put each hand on its own knee. Each hand is guiding a leg. And then your legs are going to move apart from each other and then around in circles to come back together. So kind of like the knees are tracing like binoculars or glasses or something. They're 2 circles next to each other. And then trace the binoculars, spectacles around in the other direction. And then bring your knees back in, give yourself a squeeze. And place the soles of the feet down on the mat. Take your right leg up in the air. Point and flex your foot a few times, moving the toes around. And then draw the toes back towards your shin. So we have that flex in the foot, keeping the flex in the foot as you bend the knee, put the right ankle on the knee. You can stay here pressing the right thigh forward or take the right arm in between the legs, holding on to the back of the left thigh. Sometimes if we just elevate that left foot a little bit, we get a little bit more hold. So especially if you have maybe like a couple of pillows or a couple books or something, you can put the left foot on it. And that will give a little bit without the whole holding onto the leg depth that you get with that next step. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. If you're still holding onto the thigh, let go, set that foot down. If you've got anything underneath that foot, then go ahead and scooch it away from you. We're gonna slide now that right leg over until both thighs are crossed. Open your arms out to a way that is comfortable to you. It doesn't have to be completely open. Maybe your hands are a little bit lower than your shoulders. Let the legs roll over towards the left side. I'll show you, I've got my foot kind of catches and stops. So you can see that that bottom knee doesn't come all the way down. It is possible to roll all the way over if that feels okay in your lower back. But sometimes this midway can help to release more of the outside of the hip. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Draw the belly in, bring the legs back to the center, unwind your legs. Make sure that the soles of the feet are planted, that the hips are relaxed, you feel steady and even. And then taking that right leg, or left leg, other leg up in here, the left leg. And then pointing and flexing your foot, taking the toes back towards your shin and away from your shin. So back towards you, up to the ceiling, to you, the ceiling. And then draw those toes back towards you, towards your shin, flexing the foot, keeping the flex. And then putting that left ankle on your right knee, staying here, either putting something underneath that right foot, pressing the left thigh forward, or perhaps taking the left arm in between the legs, holding with both hands around the right leg. Spending a few breaths here, relaxing in whatever of these variations you've chosen. One more breath. Release the right leg if you're still holding on to it. Scooch anything out from underneath your foot if it's there. Sliding that left thigh on top. Keep the thighs crossed. Open the arms. Let both knees go over into that twist. Just is there before. Okay. And every time you exhale, letting the belly soften. Even if it doesn't change very much in the way that it looks, just giving a subtle change to the way that it feels. The way it feels to you. What feels right to you. Breathing in, breathing out, unwinding the legs, bringing the legs back in, setting the soles of the feet down, Bringing your arms down by your sides, just taking a few deep breaths, letting your body soften, letting your back relax onto the mat. Letting your knees fall against each other and taking this as Shavasana, or starting to extend your legs, or take a seated meditation. Maybe you put a pillow or something else underneath your knees or your feet to feel more supported. Staying here for a few deep breaths, a few minutes, a little time to settle. Just allowing yourself to simply be here. Rest well in your Shavasana. Starting to come back into your body. If there's anything that your body calls for in small movements, and following that call, making those little adjustments. Tuning in, notice what you feel. Notice the sensations that come up. And then bending into your knees. Take a nice easy roll over to one side. Offering gratitude for this opportunity to tune inwards, to also tune in together. And take your time coming up to your own version of a comfortable seat. When you get into your seat, bring your hands together at your heart. Let your heart lift, let your heart open, finding this connection, this deep connection with yourself, that we may find a greater connection with others, continuing this union, this yoga on whatever path suits us best. Sealing our practice with one Om. Take a deep breath in. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was lovely.
Thanks. It got my lower back.
Meeting code and link. So every time you pop on, that'll be how it is. Let me know if you have questions on anything. Email, send notes, share this with other people who might enjoy spending this time together too, because we're just living this life, right?
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. I'm gonna log off. I'll see you
Bye.
here. Hi, Kitty. Good to see you. Bye. Bye.